I love Star Wars, but it does not love me back. I mean, let's be honest. There's all sorts of things. Like, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you love Lord of the Rings. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you love Harry Potter. But Star Wars fans don't seem to agree much on anything other than the first two are good. They don't even agree that the Jedi is good, and I love Return of the Jedi. It's part of the original trilogy. Like, it's hard. And in Star Wars, there's like two factions-ish. There's the original trilogy supremacists, which the name kind of tells you. They're more of the older fans that they grew up with the original trilogy. And then there are fans that are younger, like me, who like the sequels and prequels a little bit more than the original trilogy, and people who think they're edgy by saying the prequels were better. But anyway, there's a lot of problems with Star Wars fans because they can't find anything to agree on. Last Jedi was labeled a cinematic disaster, even though it was actually pretty good, at least in my opinion. But fans were so split on the opinion that it wasn't even talk about. Like, look at the ratings. Now, you need to know a little bit of Rotten Tomatoes. Like 46% or 50 or whatever the rating is for fans means that those amount of people think that it is good. So it's pretty split, 50-50. But the biggest thing with Star Wars that people seem to agree on is John Williams. But another thing is the TV. Now, granted, there's a lot of crap out there, like Star Wars Resistance and Forces of Destiny, but whatever. I don't even know anyone's opinion on Visions anymore. But I decided we're going to look at the 5 best and almost perfect TV shows: Clone Wars, Rebels, The Mandalorian. The Kenobi one's coming out, so that one will be eventually, but let's stick to these 3 for now. We got The Bad Batch, and the final finale, The Book of Boba Fett, which that one might put a taint in its perfect record. But most Star Wars fans love the TV shows. So, as a Star Wars fan, I decided let's do an LS Mark idea with Star Wars The Clone Wars and watch every episode. Now, there's no secret, there's about 133 episodes of The Clone Wars, plus the movie. But I said I wasn't going to talk about the movie, so I'll just say straight up, it's bad. Should not have been a movie. Started out as an arc. Now, for people who are unfamiliar with arcs, see, those things made for kids usually do 20 minutes, so they can't put an accurate TV show in 20 minutes without cramming everything in, so they split it over multiple parts. And Clone Wars does this a lot. Like, almost every 20-minute series that actually has a real plot driving forward does it a lot. And Clone Wars is no exception. So I'm going to be covering the arcs as well as some of the episodes in an LS Mark style format. And if you don't know him, go check him out. He has a full video, 6-hour video on him watching every Simpsons episode. Now, I kind of let you guys down. I did kind of stop for a while, so I decided we're going to come back and I'm going to do this in different parts. Now, it's not going to be the same as a retrospective. It's going to be more of an LS Mark style, which Clone Wars retrospective, Schaefer said he does with his brother, is kind of funny, so go check that out too. But anyway, let's get started. Now, we gotta get started with, sadly, the worst thing in the movie. Now, of course, the movie really is a movie, and it really shouldn't count, but it's bad. It's bad. Should not have been. It would have been much better as an arc, and the episodes actually look decent, but the problem with arcs is they're just segments, and they just throw in a bunch of characters, and watching it together just doesn't make sense. So, however, there is something that we are going to get started with that adds to the real TV show. That's just the movie, and honestly, if you really don't care about it, go check it out. Now, I'm going to be covering this in spans of months of when the show was released. So, October of 2008 is the very first season, so let's get started. Now, this season came out when I was 1, so I really wasn't old enough to enjoy it. It was on Cartoon Network, which, man, I kind of knew it was on Cartoon Network. At the same time, I had no idea it was on Cartoon Network. Yeah, and then it went on Netflix and Disney+. But anyway, we get the first episode known as Ambush. Now, this isn't part of its big arc or anything, and interestingly, they put it back to back, which honestly is pretty cool from the other Rising Malevolence, and it's the other Malevolence arc, which we'll cover later. But Ambush is actually pretty cool. You see, Star Wars has always been clunky with the politics part of it, and in the prequels, the politics, I'm not going to say we weren't important, they were just improperly handled. George Lucas made a big error in trying to do these, and it got boring. It should have been more subtle. And this was subtle. They do backdrops to some really sweet action while showing us Master Yoda in his prime and a better improved version from the prequels. You see, if the only introduction you ever had to Master Yoda was in Episode 5 of The Empire Strikes Back, then I would say that, well, you should probably, then that is that Yoda. But the other Yodas, the prequels, it's pretty jarring seeing this version of Yoda, the kooky one, and the other version of Yoda, which is all serious and things and sad from the Clone Wars. They do kind of talk about that in Rebels, but you see, the design on him was good, and I enjoyed this first episode. It gives a good idea of the clones, and even puts these driving themes up forth. It kind of starts the driving themes, which is a good plus from Season 1. And I have to say, this was quite enjoyable. He expresses the same beliefs that Plo Koon has about them, and he's right. He's pretty cool, and I enjoy the episode as a cool commentary on politics, even. Now, and it's sort of them trying to get the Transdarians, or whatever they're called, off the moon and try to get them to, join the Republic versus the Separatists. And he always wanted to join a little bit more, so when you watch it, he definitely has a definite Republican. He definitely has a Republic bias towards against the Separatists. And according to him, Master Yoda did not get a fair fight. I roll my eyes at that. I think that is stupid. And honestly, it's better. Master Yoda outsmarts his enemy, and it's pretty good. Now, I can't linger on this one forever, as it's just a one-shot, and kind of pass it off, which is probably smart of Cartoon Network to, put them out in the same day. Then we get Rising Malevolence, and the start of the Malevolence arc. And the first one was only the very first episode. This one is going to go from episode 2 to 4. It's a 3-episode arc, and this details our first arc. It details the Malevolence, this gigantic ship that that just snaps power out of ships, then crushes them, then goes searches for survivors. It also adds another subtle political aspect to it, because the politics in this, if we get witnesses, they're gonna know how to defeat us, and good ideas. But one of the things I've been looking at this, and with a more critical eye, is just the constant failings of the Separatists. The Republic got a lot of early victories, according to the show, and it almost makes the show a bit predictable at times. We know our heroes are going to escape because Plo Koon has plot armor, and Anakin has plot armor, and Ahsoka kind of does. And we know that, and we kind of know that the Republic is going to succeed. And that is kind of a struggle with these early episodes. I haven't touched into the next month yet, so I don't know. But this one I find is just... this one I just find is a good arc. I'm going to say it's a good arc. It kind of follows them trying to escape from Malevolence before they get captured, and then they got or killed, actually. No, they're trying to kill them. And now so the Republic has a witness to figure out how to destroy this thing, and Anakin has a plan. Then the Malevolence goes after a hospital to try to stop the places where the Republic can send their wounded. And it's pretty good, but they always fail. And that's the thing. They fail, then we go right back to the next battle. And actually, this one I thought was unnecessary. And that is kind of a running theme with these, I like some of the battle stuff, but this one I find was unnecessary, but however, it does demonstrate how they can just destroy the Malevolence up next. The next episode, Padme's there, and Palpatine just made a mistake. No, it was probably part of a plan, and actually it was a good plan. Make Anakin angry, vulnerable, turn him to the dark side. So, trying to jump early on the plan, as you can see, and it was quite a good episode. We get to see General Grievous say hello there, and also a idea showing it to Anakin, how he always wants to save the people he loved. The episode ends with them destroying Malevolence, crashing it into a moon, and destroying the hyperdrive. And this arc was pretty good. The second episode felt a little unnecessary, but it does demonstrate how it's vulnerable now. And the other thing about it is I thought the first episode was real good. Introduced us to Ahsoka in a very, very good way. Now, but then we go to Rookies. This one, it's alright. They just try these clones, it just follows the clones the entire time. They do have pop-in cameos from Obi-Wan and Anakin, who trying to defend the base, or else the Republic can get invaded by the Separatists. I'm just gonna say, it kind of feels like that's already going on. But anyway, they stop them, and they're preparing for the next battle, as it seems. Now, I thought this was going to continue into an arc, but it didn't, surprisingly. And also, it just kind of shows the common themes that they're going to go through in this entire series about the clones being more than soldiers and that kind of stuff, and how good the soldiers they are versus the droids, which, the first one's the droids, I feel like they are a little too dumb. They're easily worse than stormtroopers, and they're like stormtroopers, stupidity times a million. Sometimes it's hard to watch, and are you kidding me? They couldn't find a better army than these idiots? Like, sometimes, and it makes me worry about the Separatists and other ideas. So this series definitely needs to get better antagonists. But Count Dooku and General Grievous, I found are good. They kind of have this budding rivalry, as if they are two equally important figures in the Separatist army, yet they can't always agree on who's the master and who's the apprentice, with General Grievous constantly like shutting him off, while Count Dooku is a serious thing, which sadly they do explore in the movie. And also one thing I thought was great and amazing that they did with, actually no, I'm going to say this. One thing that I felt is a weakness, a major weakness with these first few episodes, is how often the Separatists lose. It's watching a failure after a failure after a failure. So it's strange and a little kooky in the way it's done. It's awful in a way how bad sometimes the Separatists are, and it doesn't even make them a good force. Like, the droids are stupid, and I don't like how these battle droids, you know, the ones that pew, pew, like they talk, and the only ones that are cool are the roller droids, and it just gets a little ridiculous after a while. So yeah, but yeah, I will say good, this part 1. Now, I'm not going to give 10 out of 10s or out of 10s at all, but I'm just going to say a common theme is the Separatists keep failing, so I'm just going to say needs to improve and give me good antagonists, more antagonists to have, like, you know, the Separatists do something successful. Like, oftentimes, I know who we're rooting for here, but they're not doing something successful. It's just not good. So yeah, but anyway, it's pretty good, and I will see you next time. I'll try to post these as frequent as I can, and I'm sorry for the bit of a delay, but anyway, after I finish with Clone Wars, I'm going to get Rebels, then I'm going to do The Mandalorian, if there's new seasons out, then I'm going to hop into the Bad Batch, then do the Book of Boba Fett, and then I'm pretty sure Kenobi will be out by then, so then we're going to catch up on Kenobi, and I might do episode-by-episode reviews. They're releasing the first 2 on Disney+, so I think you guys should definitely check that out. So bye, and I'm glad that we can expand this channel a little bit more.